here what it looks like once I get it all cut up. I just keep it in here, and I keep plenty of ice on there. We fill ice cream containers up and things like that, and I keep it slap full for maybe a day, 2 days. It just depends on how much I have. And then I'll bring it inside, and I cut it up inside. Now, if it was cold, which it's not right now, if it was cold, I'd be doing this on the outside around back. Have it set up where it's a whole lot nicer, a whole lot cleaner than doing it inside here. This is my outside kitchen. This isn't the house. What we do is I take and I put it in these pans here. They'll hold 100 pounds. I cut it up best I can. Meat in here, the bones in there, and a lot of times I go back through and clean it up a little bit more. And I'm taking, I put it in the grinder over there underneath my computer, and we'll grind it up. Then if I'm going to, if I'm going to put it up fresh, I'll put it in these bags like this. You can put in like 2.5 pounds in each one, and that's what I do, because these things here come in multiples of 5. It's usually 5, 15, something like that. So this is 5, so I can just take one package, 2 of those, and I got the perfect amount of meat. This is 25 pounds of meat. This is for 5 pounds of meat. So that's why I put it up in 2.5 pound deals. And I use gloves on pork a lot, not because, the only reason is because pork is kind of fat, and you're dealing with a knife, and it's easy to cut yourself. So I use gloves to kind of keep my hands clean, and also to keep everything else clean that's that I might end up touching or something like that. Pieces that I know, like that one right there, pieces of meat that I know I'm not going to use, I put in that white bucket. Those will go in here, and chickens will eat a lot of the chickens, dogs, whatever. They'll eat a lot of the pieces that are good enough, but they're just something, for some reason, I don't want to deal with it. And all I do is just go through here. That grinder over there, it's not one of the ones that they call the Big Bite or nothing like that. It's one of the original ones from a long time ago. But it says it'll do 750 pounds in an hour, and it'll do 750 pounds in an hour. There's no doubt in my mind. If you cut it up anywhere near, I change knives there. I don't have a preference on knives. I just, whatever's sharp, whatever's handy. Not a knife. Not that critical on it. But if you cut it up in pieces like this, and I cut it up bigger than most people, it'll go down in there. And once it gets a bite on it, once it gets a grip on it, it'll pull it on through. I mean, it has to be pretty good size for it not to, something that big, or it'll go right through. Something twice that big will go right through. Now that Big Bite, I hadn't had any experience with it, but it looks to me like it might take a bigger piece than mine will. But even a piece like that, it would go through. I'll still go ahead and cut it, but it would go through. And I got this white shirt on, but it's not for any reason in particular. Usually I just wear whatever I've got on at the time. And if you look, there's not, I'm not going to ruin this shirt because I've had them for years. But if you look, there's not that much blood, because what I do is, first, and this is not going to help take out the blood, but the first is where I shoot them at. I shoot them in the head, so there's no bloody meat to speak of at all. Like you say, if you shot him in the shoulder or something, I just want to shoot something in the shoulder. It's not going to do it. People get out there and they sight their guns in where they can hit a quarter at 300 yards and brag about it. First thing they do, they shoot a deer right in the shoulder and waste half the meat. I won't clean a deer shot like that. And any part of it that's been hit, I won't even attempt to. When I say I won't clean it, I won't cut it up for and grind it up, because there's a good chance you might have some of that fragments of that bone in there. Kind of hurts your teeth when you bite down on it. A lot of times I will start with the friend of mine used to mow grass. He had a big grass mowing business, and he used to say the first thing he did every time was the weed eating. I asked him, well, why? He says, that's the part I hate the most. So his thoughts were he'd go ahead and do the weed eating, and then he can sit on the mower. But if you sit on that mower all day, it's going to be hard for him to weed eat. So that's kind of the same principle I do with these pigs or deer or whatever. I start with the shoulders first. That's usually what nobody wants to deal with, because it's productivity's low. But still, there's a lot of meat on there. I start with them first. That's about as good as I get it on the first go round. I may or may not come back and do some more on it. Here's the hindquarters. I do the same thing. Now you can take, if you want to, you can take and kind of go right here. If you want to save that little, you know, you call it what you want, backstrap, tenderloin, whatever, that little piece. I cut this off. This is the ribs out here, and I cut that off to make pork chops with. But if you wanted to save that for, you know how they make the little, well, I don't know what you call it. They cook it like that. But me, sausage. Sausage or hamburgers. It makes good hamburgers. I don't know where they came up with the idea of making hamburgers out of deer. I mean, out of cows. I think they'd make it out of ham. But if you want to, you can take and cut the whole tenderloin out, or backstrap, however you want to call it. Tenderloin's actually inside, but we call it tenderloin on the backstrap. You can cut the whole thing, and I do sometimes. Cut the whole thing and save it just like that. Some people might want it. Every freezer I have is slap full. There's no way this is just for other people, friends, family, relatives. Times it's kind of tough for a lot of people right now with the virus going around and everything's locked down. And it might look like I'm cutting those too big, but that grinder over there, I don't know what size. It's the biggest that they make. I don't know what size it is, but it is the biggest that Lim makes. You won't have any problem with it. The virus going around, stuff like this kind of help a lot of people. Plus it gives me something to do. Pig hunting's kind of fun. It's about like cowboy days. There's no limits. Heck, you can kill them any way you want. You can shoot them at night a lot of times. Bulleye them at night. I'm not going to do that. But he can. Just get a permit. As long as it's not during deer season, you can do it. Bones, especially like this. Somebody got dogs. And they right up a dog's alley. You'd have it under your house, stinking, no time at all. We usually give it to the chickens. They'll sit there and clean it up faster than anything. Much fat as these things on there, that way you don't have to put it grease in your eggs when you fry them. That inner fat like that right there. Most chickens love that. It's real delicate. That's part of that inner tenderloin people like so much. I like it too. Sausage. This is one thing that I will come back and clean up, because you can see I didn't really do that good a job on this. And how much, I just about tell you how much I left. Probably 6 hamburgers is still on here. Quarter pounders. That might not be worth your time or something, I don't know. But I will come back and clean it up a little bit. Figure 2 pigs. These were about 100 pounds, a little over maybe. 2 pigs. It like this now, not shot to pieces. Like this. It'd take me, I think maybe, I don't know if I probably timed it before, but I can't remember. But I'd say from the time I start cutting to the time it's all in that thing there, might be an hour. And then the grinding only takes maybe 15 minutes. When we grind it, I grind it and put it in it's a little bitty, kind of like draining things. These deals. Set it on over top of that. And what if any blood is in it? It'll drain out. And I fill it, one of the bigger ice chests, I fill it up full of ice. Well, not full, but I mean I cover the bottom in ice. And then I set those in there on it. And it'd be best if you let it sit overnight. I usually don't, but it'd be best if you let it sit overnight. If you're the type that worries about blood, I mean it's blood doesn't really bother me that much. I mean, if you look at, I mean that's what it looks like when you buy it in the store. I mean, it's not that much blood in it. But there will be some. If you sit there and you let it sit overnight, and then now that's after it's ground up. It's not just that's not cubed up or cut up, whatever you call it. It's after you grind it up. It's when I let it sit overnight. Because then whatever, you know, the meat has been kind of it's got a lot more surface area than it had to begin with, so the blood can drain out easier. I hadn't caught any figs the past couple of days, so which is good because you can catch too many, and if you do, you're going to end up not, or at least I'll end up not doing a good job. Because pigs around here, I mean, they're considered an outlaw animal. That's why you can shoot them just about. You just about do anything humane to get rid of them, because they're just so destructive. I don't see them as that, but that's how a lot of people see them. They are destructive, but I don't see them as bad as fire ants or termites. Termite do me more harm than pigs. I wish pigs would eat termites. I wish fire ants would eat termites. I wish termites would eat fire ants. This here is some of that inner fat right here. Got my computer. Seems like I got an alert on my computer. This here is some of the. This is actually what you would call bacon. This is what they would make bacon with right here. Every now and then, it's very rare, but every now and then I'll see a hair. If I do, just like that one right there, I'll get it out. I mean, I've cleaned the tar out of it. But anyway, this is what they make bacon out of. I make bacon out of it too, right there in that sausage pile. Bacon sausage. MetaTrader running over there in the background. It'll alert me if anything I need to. So there was another one. It'll alert me if there's anything I need to take a look at. Other than that, I can be doing whatever I want. So I can be doing whatever I want no matter what. It won't take the chickens, but Priscilla's got probably, I guess you'd have to know how many chickens she's got. She might have 24 chickens, maybe a little more, maybe 30. One rooster, one too many roosters. She gets about 24 eggs a day. That's another thing. They become a problem. We don't sell them. She gives them away. She can't. If for some reason she'd give them away nowadays, though. I tell you what, they said they can't get them at the grocery store. But if you don't have some kind of way to get rid of them, you won't be able to put a stick of butter in your refrigerator. She manages to get rid of them, sell them. She just likes darn chicken. But anyway, 30 chickens, they'll clean these bones up in 3 days. Ain't nothing left but a bone. This out here is our, we call it outside kitchen. We if you only doing one deer, a few squirrels, something like that, there's no trouble doing it in a house. Whew. Think how many deer and hogs and all we do to kill a year clean. And I'd have to, every year I'd have to put all this junk up in the attic because there's no way, enough room in that kitchen. Every year I'd have to tote it all down. Well, that stuff is heavy. Rickety attic stair steps. It's right there hurting something. I just got tired of it, so we built this out here. It's 12 by 12, and I should have built it 16 by 16. It's built. And it sure makes it nice. Everything, I have some stuff moved now because I got this in the way. Most of the time this is over there. I got everything in this place around, so I don't have to be getting anything. The whole thing is shelves except for where the freezer is, so I don't have to be getting anything down off the shelf. Everything's right there. All the seasonings over there are lined up just like these knives. First I thought that was a piece of bone. I heard it hit. It was nothing but ice. The way I cut these, there should never be any bone because I don't go all the way down to the end of the leg. I kind of stop. I think they might call that the trotter or something, this part down here. I don't go that far down, I go up high. There's not that much meat down there anyway. What that does, that keeps it where there's no possibility of getting a bone fragment in there. This bone fragment just as bad for your teeth as a doggone bullet. there's a lot of fat in pork, even in the meat that you'd say there's no fat in. It's unbelievably. I mean, it might not be as greasy as a coon, but it's there's a lot. I guess it's just natural fat intermixed into the meat. You can tell because if you go through there and just take just the pure meat, don't take any fat, and you think, oh, I'm just getting lean meat. Grind it up, you'll be seeing how much fat's in there. It really shows when you go to, we use those George Foreman grills, and I'll make patties with this for hamburgers, and it's amazing how much fat comes off out of that stuff. Out of what you think might be lean meat. That's why you really need to put, I don't guess you really need to, but that's why I do, but I mix our stuff 50-50. That's because I have way more hogs than I have deer. I can kill 50 hogs a year, and deer, you can't kill that many. So you can't kill that many. I think 5 is legal, 6 something. I don't know what's legal. Getting cold in here. Some of that I'm cutting up too small, but when you skin hogs, you lose a lot of the fat. A lot of the fat stays on the meat. I mean on the hide. And but only need a certain amount of fat anyway. I don't care if the hide keeps a little bit. If you was making soap or lard or something like that, you would care, of course. I'm not going to be making soap or lard this week, so I don't care. this right here, I bet it'd probably take, I'm gonna guesstimate, just make myself feel good, 100 pounds. It'd probably take 5 minutes with that grinder, grind it up. What can slow you down on a grinder is if you cut it real small. Because then you're having to hand feed a lot. When I do it, I'm trying to cut pretty good sized pieces. That way when it gets in there, it pulls itself in. That auger pulls it in. So once you start that piece right there, you know, it'll pull the rest of that in. I don't have to be sitting there, you know, hand doing 100 pounds of pieces the size of M&M. We have one of those commercial type. Every now and then there's a little gland in there like that. I know you couldn't see it, but I cut those out. We have one of those commercial type. I don't know what you call it. It's what they say people like Chili's and that type of stuff they used to do their ribs with. You could probably put in 50 racks of ribs in there or something. You could put a lot. It's one of them commercial deals. I think it's Southern Comfort or Southern something. It's about $12,000 cooker, which is what you would think somebody like, you know, those Chili's or some of those people could be able to afford. Now I didn't buy it. A friend gave it to me, but no way I'd spend that much money. But it is nice. I mean, you could put a lot of pounds in that thing, especially as far as sausage goes. If you put it in the summer sausage, which is, you know, the larger things, you could load it up. Now you start putting in a lot of small stuff, you take up your rack space, and you won't be able to put in as much. So when I do regular sausages, I still probably put in 50 pounds. I could probably put in more than 50 pounds. I'd say probably the most on regular sausage, and just say snack sticks, I'd say probably maybe 150 pounds would be my max that I could put in there. And if I had it where I could put racks, I mean, it'd be easy to do, right? Just 150 pounds is about more than I want to do in a time anyway. But if you could put more racks, and like I said, that'd be easy to do. Just put you some little spacers in there. I used to do it in the oven in the house, and I had spacers in between the racks, so you could put a lot more racks in there. You could probably double that. It's one of these programmable types. You can put in whatever you want, temperature, length, time, whether you want smoke, whether you don't want smoke. It's like something you would think a commercial outfit would have. It's not like something you'd think I'd have. Like I said, the only reason I got it because somebody gave it to me for free. I think Chili's or somebody was upgrading and getting a new one, and they had the old one, and it's big. Didn't nobody want to take you? It's not gonna fit in your kitchen for sure. Nobody wanted it at the place, and I had a friend that hunts with us. He asked me. I said, heck yeah, I'll take that thing. So they brought it out here. I have all kinds of smokers and makes a pretty good mess in the house too. You always feel obligated to clean it up. This is more that would be what the bacon would be on that other pig. It takes a pretty good sized pig to really get bacon out of it. I mean, these here, it's just not enough there. I don't let them get old enough to make bacon before I done caught them or shot them or something. And even if I could make, I've never, not one time on any pig ever, have I gotten what I considered bacon. Even the ones, if we catch, a lot of times I'll catch some baby ones. That's about the worst thing I can do is catch a bunch of baby ones. About the size of a softball or something like that. Because I just don't have it in me to shoot them. You can let them go. Coyote's gonna get them. A lot of times I'll bring them home. We'll raise them up. You talk about an expensive way to get hamburger or pork chops or whatever. You start raising pigs, that's an expensive darn way. You can go to these day-old bread stores and you can buy bread that's way past day-old in garbage bags, and or by the truckload actually, and that's a little cheaper. Start buying that stuff like that, Priscilla will be feeding them everything in the world. Darn, pigs be eating better than me. Chickens already eat better than me. Chickens are at the door. I might have to give them something to eat. They're about to, I gotta just about beat them off. just ribs. The ribs, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll take and if I'm wanting to save the if I want to make pork chops, I just take and I cut them here. Then I'll take it. Now some of this I might take off, but I'll just take and saw it there, and let's see where the saw. Now I have one of those meat saws also. It's better. What I'm fixing to do here, way better. This kind of makes a mess here. Just about need 2 people to do it this way. And actually it's best if you do it while it's hanging up. Best if you do it hanging up outside. But then you have to have 2 people there, one person holding it, because you can't hold it and saw at the same time. You done dropped it on the ground. I'll clean it up a little bit because a lot of this fat kind of, I'd rather have fat in the, and when you start trimming that off, you get to where there's got that kind of like gristle right there. I don't put that in there with that. I saw that off. Donate that to the chickens. Almost missed my bucket. See here, there's way too much fat on this. Trim some of it off. It's kind of wet. And I'll take these ribs and I'll roll them up just like in a roll of cookies or something, and I'll put them in one of those bags, those vacuum bags. What it'll do, it will squish them down. There's a darn rooster. It'll squish them down, and they pack better. You start trying to put a lot of hogs in freezer, you'll end up, if you don't have it packed real tight, you'll end up with no room in your freezer. But if you roll this down just like that, and I could roll it even tighter than that, and then you put it in one of those vacuum bags, it's going to squish it down even more, and it doesn't take up very much space in your freezer. It's so you get a lot of density per cubic foot of of freezer space. That's where having that meat saw, and it's not a good one. It's just the old cheap version. But it works good. About like a bandsaw. Ribs, I don't cook them in that cooker out back. I just put the one other thing. Over time, everybody, I guarantee you, almost everybody anyway, they'll know somebody that's getting a new stove. There's nothing wrong with their old stove. Maybe dirty. There's nothing wrong with it. Probably still works. They'll get a new stove. Now they got to do something with the old one. Well, situation like I am got here. I got that outside. Got that big cooker right there. That thing is almost as big as a freezer. And it has two stoves over here, regular stoves, like I said, half people's houses full of stoves. And it's all they are is just ones that somebody was it changed out. There wasn't nothing wrong with that one. They just wanted a new one. You know how that goes. And so I got they gave me the old one, and I put it out there. And I'll take these ribs or something if we're gonna cook it. We'll cook them on that stove outside. That way I'm not heating the house up, or Priscilla's not heating the house up. It's not so bad. In the wintertime, heat don't really hurt, but start heating the house up in the summertime, different story. That's why I cook them out there on the back side of this deal. Economically speaking, it's cheap. But that there, I'll just roll it up as tight as I can. I might have to do it 2 or 3 times to get it down right. But this here would be pork chops. Battery died a while ago on that camera. I just took my computer inside. It, like I said, it's MetaTrader. Well, I got it programmed to anything I need to know. It'll send me a message and let me know. That way I don't have to sit there and watch it. Do whatever I want to do. It'll send it to that phone. That was that phone a while ago, just then. Said something. Now a lot of people will, this here might be a place where, one of the places, A lot of people out there kind of talk down skinning pigs. You know, oh, you waste so much this, you waste so much that. You do. You waste a pretty good bit. Bang. Well, I can eat it all anyway. Give half of it, well, way more than half. Give 9/10 of it away after I package it and cook it. But I can't remember what I was gonna say. I'll cut this one up with the saw. I might cut them both up with the saw with this, but most of the time I use that the band saw, the little meat saw. It does a better job, a prettier job than this. Maybe a neater job too. What I always tell people, I tell them I made double pork chops. So instead of cutting just one rib on one side, because pork chops really should be cut down the back and then cut. I tell people instead of making one pork chop, I made 2 pork chops. I call them doubles. Real reason is that it's a whole lot easier on me cutting them up. Giving it away anyway. If you hit the rib right, and I didn't that time, it just takes a second to cut through that. I guess I'm off center or something, because most time it's a whole lot easier to cut through. Not starting out right, I guess. Saw. You end up with big, gigantic pork chops. Well, big, gigantic for that pig. wash those off because you get a lot of bone fragments in there. Some people call it bone dust. Not really bone dust, just bone sawdust is what it is. A lot of people might be thinking, oh, you cut off that fat, you're removing the flavor. No, I'm not removing it, I'm just moving it. Moving it from here to over there. Stuff is cold. You can see here where when you see how much fat's there and it's not here. I might have cut a little bit off, but a lot of times when you skin them, there's about that much fat will stay. I'm gonna say half an inch. It's about a half an inch of fat will stay probably with the hide. So if you skin them, you lose that much. I don't try to cut all the fat off. You can see that's about how much I try to cut off. Let me take a look. Let's see if I can make a mess again here. Got so many knives there. Really better to hold this with a paper towel. Gives you more grip. Pretty big pork chop. somebody likes hunting coyotes, then what you put this out on the pipeline. Buzzards might get it pretty quick, but throw it out there in the evening time, they won't. Coyotes come out there after it. Coyotes, foxes, everything else. Alright. Let me change up the scenario here real quick.